Hello and welcome to episode 21 of our Timberborn Update 7 Emberpelts playthrough, cycle 37, day 11. Last time, we got some stuff accomplished in various places, talked about some of the other things that we could maybe possibly do to improve food, and I think the consensus in the comments is very much in favor of building these underground food storage areas. So I've got a couple ideas for some various places to put those. But I do think it's worth putting in at least a little bit of food storage near these juice areas. Maybe this one doesn't have room for, a huge underground thing next to it. But it would be possible to tunnel underneath these underground tanks here on, say, this level and then put in some underground warehouses. We do have the option to do that. I don't know if this would be a great place for that. But outside of that, I can get this to stay on the correct spot, triple speed. I was thinking, maybe somewhere over here would be a great place for an expansive food storage grotto. That doesn't mean it's going to be the only place we can do it. It just means that's probably going to make sense. So we'll start working towards some of that stuff, but since we're already here, we do have the drought coming in 2 days, so this isn't going to be a great thing to get finished super fast, but it will be nice when it's done. There was a request made that we could put in a pump over here for the clean water so that it would be closer to where all the juice stuff is happening. And yes, this is currently clean because, well, we've stopped a whole lot of the bad water on this side of the map. There's still tons. But until we have everything diverted in all of these source blocks and everything, which, okay, most of them you can't actually see, so it's pointless for me to try and do this over here. But this is going to be bad water more often than not for probably a while. What we'll need to do instead is come down here where we have clean water being brought in, and then what we can do is we can pretty easily put in a little access, not right here because we have storage there, but somewhere over here, just a little pool where the water will come up and then it can be pumped out with one of our automated water pumps. I think that would be fun. So I come down in here. We do have these, of course I can't click on it. We have these paths down here, so it's not going to be impossible for us to accomplish this. All we've got to do is just put in tunnels to get over to maybe right about here. We could honestly, since it's not for irrigation, we could just make it a single thing and have the straw of the pump go down into it. So that could very easily just go to a place like this, or it could... I need to pause so they don't actually start doing this until I'm ready for them to do what they need to do. But we could very easily just put somewhere like even right here or down into this little corner here. Why don't we do that? That seems like kind of a nice thing to do. So this spot right here just needs to get blasted out. I think it's going to have to be... Oh, it's only 2. Okay, well, it's not such a bad idea to have it be 3 deep anyway. Yeah, so if I did that, then I just need to have this set up to 1 more. There we go, and I don't need to worry about this. That'll be a little easier to accomplish anyway. Okay, yeah. So this doesn't need to be a triple dynamite unless I take that tunnel out. It'll be a little easier, a little faster to get done. B for boom, etc. And then that will give us a little bit of a spot down there. And what's the straw length on this? 4? Yeah, okay. So I could go down... Well, I could go down 1 more and be almost at the bottom of the map. Again, not really a huge reason to do it, but sometimes you just want to do stuff because it's kind of cool. So, they should have water in here pretty quick, and this won't ever overflow because it's taller than everything else. Super simple solution right here. Just get that popped in right there. I left this space in case I wanted to have this come out around the outside like so. Actually, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like that. Let's take that out. But that'll get them pretty close. And yes, we do have to power this. I have not forgotten about that. And the power is on the other side down here. We're not going to be super difficult to get that popped in place. I just have to be cognizant of where my water is going to be going. Yeah, so that is what is going to happen here. Let's see. Vertical power shaft tunnel on which one is this going to go into? If I go here, then it's not going to get blocked by anything. So, yeah, we'll do that, and then I can just pop this without having to even get out of here. I know that sounds pretty nice, huh? Alright, so might as well just come over on this side, get down to there, one here, one here, one here. They should be able to do this from up top, I believe. Yeah. I'm thinking that'll be fine, but the stuff in here might actually require that we put in some other tunnels next to it. Again, it's not really a huge deal. Okay, which way do I want? I don't think it really matters. I just need these guys to be able to get into somewhere. Yeah, I don't want to flood it, which is what that's all about. So they'll take care of that. We can leave that alone, and then that should be operating sometime soon, hopefully. Another question was asked, do we have storage for wheat? Well, the answer to that question is no. So what do we do about that? Well, we have the opportunity, since we have these tubeways going down into the earth, we have the opportunity to take advantage of that way down here and put in a underground hidden storage with underground warehouse for 3,600 wheat. Might be a little overkill. However, it's also incredibly cool. So, you know how that goes. Follow the rule of cool, etc. If I just take this out here and take this out here, they can do this, and then I can make this into a two-way station, a tiny two-way station. Just butting up right against this thing here, which can be just storage for wheat, because that's mostly what's being grown here. Super convenient. On the way in, on the way out. You know how it goes. So, tiny two-way station going into... let's see, that is the exit. Yeah. So once that's done, they'll be able to blast this out, and then they can walk through here and take care of all of that. We'll get that out of there, and then, unless I'm incorrect, I'm pretty sure this will work. Yeah, there we go. Nice and simple. Well, this one's wet. How did this one... How are these beavers getting wet? That's the... It's a good question. Did I accidentally do something dumb here? Surprise, surprise. No, I did not. Okay, and this is now working. Look at that. Fantastic. Alright, back to the wheat grotto, as it were. Not really much of a grotto, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright, so that's gone. Underground warehouse here. Super simple. Right into the wheat. And there you go. That'll take care of that basically forever. Now, what is the wheat being used for? Very good question. Wheat goes into a bunch of recipes, most of which we have not been utilizing. It has to be ground in a grist mill, which we have not built, to the best of my knowledge. But it's also been a while. So we'll see what happens. Before we get too comfy, though, I do want to kind of... I shouldn't use the term engineer, because I don't know nearly enough math to call myself an engineer. But I like the idea of a very large tiered setup here. So if we start... Because I need this to be able to fit basically in this space here. Thank you, autosave. Come all the way down. Say, call this about the midpoint, 134, 105. If I have this set up in such a way where it's going to make it possible for me to just put a whole bunch of stuff in here, I think that's going to be cool. That is right here. I mean, it doesn't really have to be super exact. But I think if I have, see, two there, and then another allowance to have a path go through, that would be 4 of these underground storages. And then, of course, with some sort of access to this side, the tiny two-way station most likely is going to be the super efficient way to do it. But I kind of want to just have this be accessible by pathway. So what that's going to require is that this is also a tunnel. And that way we can have paths in here. This goes straight through here. And this at the very end can have a tubeway. But to get that hooked up here... I'm going to need to have some sort of way to get tube ways in here. And pathwise, see, these are... So this has to be here. I already have this going over the top of something. No, it's right here. Well, the easier thing to do without rerouting all of this is going to just be to come around this side or have this just come straight out here. It's not like it's going to be that big of a deal. It's just going to be ugly. So, I will do just that. We'll come straight out here. Remember this bit in the middle. I'll leave a little bit of clearance just in case I need to expand anything here. We'll just do that. So this will all be tube ways all the way out. That'll get them into the bottom of here. This is our path. And before we get too comfortable with all of this, I do think I need to figure out exactly how this is going to be structured. Because I like the idea of it all being like a cavern kind of thing, but it doesn't have to be a huge empty void, if that makes sense. This is the bottom of the map. This is as low as you can go. If I have this go up one level here, then I think what would have to happen... It's hard to think about this with negative space versus just filling out something. If that's even anything that makes sense. If I just make it with stairways, then that means this has to be a tunnel, but this also has to be a tunnel because this is where the stairs are going up, and then this is where they're going to be sitting here, which means that needs to be 3 and 4. So... Oh, that's right. Two-way tunnels can't be dragged crosswise. Why is the... There we go. Alright, so that's one thing. That's 2. And I said I was going to have 2 wide. I need to fix that. Come on. It's lagging on me here. So anyway, the point I'm trying to get at, this probably doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to try my best to explain. I'm going to have 4 here, stairs up, 4 here, and then in the middle here, if I've done this correctly, should come out roughly... Okay, well that's not perfect, but I'll take it. I'll take it. It should work okay. I just need to make sure that I'm having this in the middle make sense. If this is going to be another tunnel this way, and then this one I would come up here, one more, and then this in the middle here, like a central arcade thing that could maybe get moved up. But anyway, 4 here, 4 here, and then on the other side I'm going to try and do the same thing, which would give us a total of 16 things for storage. Now if we come back to, I guess I could just show you guys on the well-being. In terms of nutrition, we have so many things we could store. But let's just count it. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, including the juice for nutrition. That's finished products and juice. You take the juices out. You got apples, radishes, tomatoes, bell peppers. There's 4 there. Skip your juices. Grilled corn is 5. Bell peppers is 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 food items that go into these warehouses. If we're going to build 16, that leaves 3 others that we could stick in here, and I don't think these are going to show up under well-being anyway. But there's various things that the beavers could enjoy that we could also put down here that are not just food type things. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we want to also have some other juice stuff in here. Maybe we don't need to have 16 storages. Maybe I'm just dense. That's also a very distinct possibility. But I just thought it would be kind of cool to have something in here that was, you know, different from what I normally am going to be making. So feel free to tell me if you think this idea sucks. I am well aware that I am not a very aesthetically minded person, but I am going to do my best anyway. Oh, I love not being able to see during sunrise. Okay. So that is going to get me, first of all, very frustrated by not being able to see any of this. There we go. Just need to make sure this is lined up correctly. Yeah, see that? The X thing doesn't work underground because you can't see anything. So that is 5, on this side, 5 on that side. And then here, not there, come on. And then I do have the option to come through this side to connect to something else, so I will leave a stub there on level 0. And you scroll up, that's what it looks like. You have a connection up here, and then we could also tie this into other things. Before I take any of the platforms out, I may end up, depending on how we do this, I may end up taking some more height out. We just have to keep in mind that terrain is not going to be able to support itself unless it has a vertical wall or some sort of support within 3 blocks of any given tile. So this 4 wide thing here is not going to be a problem. The 5 wide is also not going to be a problem. But that's why I couldn't, for the purpose of putting these underground warehouses in here, that's why I couldn't just have this be a huge open span, because it would have to have something supporting it. So we will see what happens here. I think this is probably best for me to just put in the tiny two-way station here and let them do that kind of thing where they walk in here and I can have the path coming in, so on and so forth. So I think what's going to happen here is this is going to be a very good opportunity for a time lapse so that we can get something accomplished quickly and I don't have to try to fill dead air while they're just blowing things up. You know what that looks like. You've seen it a billion times. It's also going to give me a chance to kind of think without having to verbalize things and maybe make mistakes. So I'm going to get as much of this done as I can, get these things popped in here, maybe make some small changes depending on what it is we're looking for, and I'll let you know what happened after the time lapse. Alright, so I got to cut the time lapse here because one, we have a bad tide coming up and I'm sure everything is fine, but we're going to check anyway. And also, they've done a substantial quantity of the construction here, and we need to start assigning what goes where. So like I said, we have 4 here, 4 here. You go up 1 level, and you have 3 on a side, and I decided to put in underground tanks. So this gives us 14 warehouses. We only technically need, what, 13, but we can have one that's a duplicate. I don't really care. And then underground tanks for, I'm going to say, just water. Seems like kind of a smart thing to have. But now we can go through here, even though we're not all on the same level, and take care of putting all of this stuff in here. So, wait a second. Wait a second. Did I accidentally make exactly the correct number? I don't know how I got to 13. Anyway, I'm just going to go straight down the line. I know we aren't making all of these things right now, but I just need to make sure that we have all of this accounted for. Thank you, autosave lag, once again. Because I am very, very, very much liable to forget if I don't have it taken care of just immediately. That was the grilled corn, and then that was... Well, that's pepper bread. Yeah, we need to really make all the rest of this stuff. But yeah, that accidentally became 1 storage for every single type of food we can make. Neat! So I put this here, tiny two-way station, so we can connect to other stuff. Right now, what I'm going to do is just bring this out, one from behind here, and then just bring this straight over here. Seems like the most common sense thing to do. So that, of course, is going to require that we have this set up correctly, and then, you know, they'll be able to connect everything here. But I think this is a good start. It's not perfect. Never will be. Nothing ever is. But that will be good enough for right now, and, you know, you can't even see it from the surface. We'll have other connectivity at some other point in time. But somebody left a comment that I wanted to address here. This right here, these sluices are obviously fine for right now, but when bad water happens, yes, the way this is set up, this will fill this with bad water, but, you know, there's pressure coming up, so it's going to be fine. It's going to come straight out. And I don't think it really matters that this technically isn't enough edges for us to be able to do the edge math, because this tunnel is also completely closed in on the top. It's not ever going to be able to leak anywhere. But I'm interested in what's going to happen when we have, after the bad tide, some nasty water in here that is just going to continually come through this way until it can be clean enough to come out this way, and I don't know if that's going to cause any issues or not. I guess we'll see. I hadn't considered that being an issue. Also, last episode, I planted this as tomatoes when I took the water pumps out, and somebody said, hey, you said this is going to be for, you know, trees that grow food. Yeah, okay, I did say that. But we're also still using this. We haven't redone all of our food production, but we do now have a lot of wheat in preparation for these other things we're going to be making. So I think that's good, at the very least. And we now have this water pump over here taking care of keeping those filled up. The juices are, you know, honestly, the juices are perfectly fine. Everything's maxed out. Water storage is looking really good. I know it's about to get a whole lot bigger when we have this all figured out. But I don't think that's really much of a cause for concern, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to get this prioritized here so that they can maybe build this just a tiny bit faster. Yeah, we need more ways to get in between spots. We know how this works. Always takes time. But in terms of the bad water stuff, I think honestly, we're in a good enough position where it's not going to matter. Even if something did go horribly wrong. We have the safeguards in place in this playthrough with the mods, not like the other one that I got bodied like 3 episodes in a row because of bad water going in different spots where I didn't think it was going to be able to go. Well, that's fine. I guess we can't sit here and wait for this. But I did want to, at the very least, do something over here to have some food storage. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like anything big. But yeah, I wanted to see what would happen here. Like, we know this is, yes, this is already full up here. It's already full. It's not going to affect any of this because this can't... Wait a second. Ah. Yeah. Alright. So, you know that meme where it's, man, now I don't remember what the text was. I remember what the feeling of it is. Anyway, it's something to the effect of, you know, I got to hand it to the haters on this one. The haters were correct, and I don't have haters. This is YouTube videos of playing with the beavers, and people like call me out for doing stuff wrong. That's not being a hater. That's being correct, even if I don't like it. But they said, yeah, you got to put a top on here. Something bad's going to happen. And I was like, no, it's never going to happen. Well, today's the day, because this has nowhere to go. Okay, well, there's absolutely nothing I can do about this. And at this point, I'm out of ideas, man. I guess, it's fine. It's actually fine. Except now there's, you know, poison in here. Well, it'll dilute. It's fine. But this has given me... it's given me a very good excuse to come back in here and put a lid on it. So that is what I will be doing. That is probably what I should have been doing this entire time. You know how it goes. So if you were one of those folks that said, hey, you need to put something on top of this or you're going to have problems, I want you to know that you are valid, you were correct, and you should celebrate your incredible precognizance. You have a gift. All that being said, we're going to fix it so it's not going to be a problem, and then you get to say, you know what? I won. I did it correctly. Now the problem is, how am I going to get these guys in here to do this? Probably not going to happen during the bad tide. I'm going to have to send them in when it's actually clean water. Because they can't actually build this until these are done, and they don't have any way of getting in there, and I'm not sending them in when there's a bad tide. So we have to remember that that's a thing. Anyway, what I was going to say is underneath all this, we do have the ability to blast this out. I just have to make sure I'm not doing this incredibly stupidly. So I'm going to blast this out, and instead of putting the underground storages in, because this is only going to give me space for 9, I think, let's just check this out real quick. I think I can put in the medium warehouses, so that would be one there. I'd put another one here, another one here. I don't think I can get away with doing this exactly the way that I want to unless I have this also. Yeah, do one more. That gives me one here, it gives me another one here, and one here, and one here. This would give me 12. Technically, I need 14 if we're going to just have, you know, regular storages. And then 14. 14 makes that a little bit more challenging. Makes it just a tiny bit more challenging. Well, I don't think it's the end of the world, so that would be... I could put one on the end here, so that would be 13. This would be 14. I guess this is fine. Not going to win any beauty contests, but you know, that is the way it goes. All right, well, let's check back in on this nonsense now that I've managed to somehow make stupid battle water mistakes in like 5 consecutive episodes. Yeah, see, this is just incredibly slow. But now we have, okay, of course we don't have scones. We're not making those yet. Radishes, which we need to plant more of. Stuffed peppers coming in. Tomatoes, we need more. Apple pies, we're not making. Apples, we do technically have, but nowhere to put them. Yeah, see, this is such a slow process. We can't sit here and monitor it, or people are going to be, you know, dead of boredom by the time we're even a third of the way there. I don't see any other cataclysmic, terrible, bad things happening. At least not yet. This will be fixed in a way that is going to not cause any problems ever again. I do still want to get this bad water evacuated off the map in a way that's not going to keep this poisoned all the time. But I fear that is going to outpace my thinking ability, so I'm not going to try and just do it the wrong way. What else? What else while we're waiting? Because I hate to just, you know, do one of these things incredibly quickly, incredibly shortly, and leave you guys with like a 20-minute episode that's not actually that good. So, what I'm going to need to do to actually make sure we get something accomplished is just keep on time-lapsing stuff. I know it's not your most favorite thing ever. But they have to finish building this, or we're not going to have any shot whatsoever at getting this stuff taken care of. So that's what you're seeing right now, is this rest of this infrastructure here, for the rest of this bad tide at least, getting time-lapse so we can come back and take care of everything we need to take care of, and then talk about what's next. Alright, so now this is connected. You can see all these beavers coming in this way to take care of a lot of the rest of this construction, but we have a task we must return to. If I can figure out where it is. Yes, now this is sparkly clean, wonderful, and we do in fact have access here should the beavers be allowed to get into it. And what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to open up, I guess probably just maybe right here in the center. Take this levee out. Yes, I know this is going to cause issues with flooding here, and the beavers are going to get wet in ways that they do not like. But this is the real world. Sometimes you have to do things that are terrible just because they have to be done. So they will, at some point, when they decide to wake up tomorrow morning, come in here and put these supports in, which will then allow them to build up from underneath these terrain blocks. And I'm hopeful that this will more or less permanently solve all of our other issues. Yes, wet fur. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Plenty of things could be substantially worse. Let's get these set for super high priority, and these guys are going to come in and I'm sure do their absolute best to get this set up ready to go. So I don't think we need to monitor that. I'm not completely in love with this, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's going to work. It'll be fine. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. So yes, the nasty water that was in here, I'm hopeful got just shoved off the side because it was pretty close to the top. I don't know how well it mixed in. I don't know the time period for those kind of things mixing into this big thing is. But I think we don't need to worry about it anymore. Now, of course, I do have to check and see how this is going. I can't have an episode be entirely time lapses, but I also have to be able to get stuff done. Yeah, see, this is just the speed of smell. Speed of smell might not even be slow enough to accurately describe what's happening here. But we know by looking at all of these things as time has gone on that there's still a few things we are not making enough of. And there are some things, like right here, we have beets that can't get picked up because, well, they have nowhere to go. So as these storages get completed for the other things that we are making, we're going to have a better idea just how much of this we actually need. Like we already know, for example, we do not have enough radishes. We don't have anywhere close to enough radishes. But the rest of this, I really can't tell. I don't know that there's going to be a way to tell besides just, well, waiting. Which is not anybody's favorite activity. And if it is, you're lying. But I digress. We have this area over here. We also should have some food storage. And this is a little bit harder for us to actually have any food storage underneath like we did before because, well, we only have this layer. And I can't really take it out because then we have this. We can't build anything on this. So then the question in my mind's eye becomes, what do we do with the rest of this space that's already down here? Right? Because I took this area here and got this all sealed off so that we could eventually blast this out. And I did a long time ago, several episodes back, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 10 at this point, say something about, okay, maybe not 10, but I was going to put some platforms on top of this, the overhangs, and then have some of the others stored. I actually don't even remember. If you do, let me know. But I was going to do something on top of these things, but this area has grown so much in that time span, I don't really know if that's necessary anymore. But all the way down here probably would not be a bad place to have another one of those kind of secondary food storages. And I'm not opposed to putting it in another one of these tunnel things, like maybe right about kind of in this area, because this is close-ish to what we were already working on with these storage things. I want it to be accessible in a way that's not completely ridiculous. So if you come in here, you go down, you can come across, you go down, and then you have to come through here. I know that's because we have the power shafts everywhere, and I didn't really do a great job of laying this out. But I think it makes enough sense to just have this area be another one of those open things. I don't know about putting another giant underground storage underground area. But if I'm going to have 14 of those things, honestly, it probably just makes sense to do that. So if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, then I'd have another 6 of them on the other side, just to have this be a perfectly straight line. Then I have something like right here. Well, what's the deal with this? This is completely underground. Completely enclosed. What do I do with that? What do I do with that? See, I don't even know that this makes sense to do this way. So I know for sure I want to have 1. And I can have 2 of these. I can move this around. I have to make sure. You probably caught this on like the first time lapse. I think that was the first time lapse. I'd accidentally put the 2-way tunnels in instead of the regular tunnels. I had to kind of fix some of that. Anyway, if I do this, then I have 4 of these. I could then make this into 5 and 6, and then I'd have 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a little plus sign, cross shape, whatever kind of mess here. So that, honestly, is not a bad idea, I don't think. I just need to make sure that I have a way to actually get into all of these. Which this tunnel piece right here is going to become a tiny tube-way station, and then the rest of this just gets excavated out. Obviously, they have a ton of stuff to do. I've already given them way too many... Look how fast this got clean. I've given them way too many things to get accomplished in a reasonable amount of time, especially with a deficit of 18 beavers. They're probably not even finished with this yet. They're not even close. Not even close. So now I find myself once again at the mercy of my previous plans, getting excited for building more housing in aesthetically pleasing ways, and then deciding not to do it because, well, not to do it yet because I don't have an idea, and now I just need the beavers, which is unfortunate. But since I have these juices here, it would not be a bad idea, I don't think, to just start putting more housing over here, even if it's ugly. We have the ability to just kind of do whatever the heck we want, right? So, if I put a large lodge there, that's a 9. And then I can put another one of these either there, or I can put something underneath that connects. That's always kind of a neat option, right? We have the ability to just utilize this area. And wooden paths always look nice, in my opinion, at least. So if that's right there, that gives these guys easy access to tubeways, even though they're kind of far away. They got juices. They're going to have food over here. Not the worst possible kind of lifestyle, but depending on how I want to do this, how does this go up? No, that doesn't really make sense. All right, I need you guys to. I know this is like the last one I put in that's adjacent to this, but I need you to get this done so I can just put this. There we go. I'm going to have to be careful which ones I delete. I'm only going to need to delete the supports that are going to be where those underground storages are going to go. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. Yeah, see, I made some choices when I set this up, I'll tell you what. Not great ones. You know what you signed up for when you started watching these videos. You know that this ends up being a disaster half the time. Wait a minute. Oh, is that because I put the entrance in the wrong spot? That absolutely is. I forgot I have to be able to actually get these guys in here. You can't have an entranceway facing an entranceway or they're not going to be able to use it. But now I've got, well, 9 extra slots for beavers, and then this is going to be another 3. It's going to help. It's not going to make this situation measurably worse. And we have an opportunity to make this slightly better. Ideally. We'll see. We just have to give it a little bit of time. I didn't want to build a giant housing complex yet, and I didn't want to expand this because I know some of you guys are tired of this. But man, I don't know what else I can do except just time-lapse things. And see, that's the problem all of these playthroughs seem to be running into, is we just have so many things that need to get taken care of that I have to be able to time-lapse it, or these are going to be like 90 episodes long and nobody wants to see that. And I certainly don't want to do that. A 90 episode series is like, that's a whole lot of time. So yeah, regrettably I do have to time-lapse a lot of this, and I know. But I'm trying to get stuff accomplished. Hopefully you can be on board with that. If not, that's fine too. But we'll just try to let them get some stuff built out, put more things where they need to go, and just see what we can get accomplished. I know this is going to be a super short episode, but it's going to take me a whole lot of time to do it. That's the way things go, though. We do our best. We see what we have to fix, and then, you know, sometimes we actually do fix it, sometimes we don't. But I'm going to try my best to get something else accomplished. We'll see what happens. Alright, so you probably saw during the last part of this time-lapse that I, once again, have failed to do basic math. So I only had provisioned for 10 of these instead of 14. I don't know how in the world I got that wrong, but you know how it goes. So this ended up turning into something that I'm not really super happy with, especially not this. But I'm pretty sure this is easily solved by just... oh, they can't even reach that. I'm going to have to blow this up. Yeah, it's one of those things. You just got to do it. So that'll help them get that put in place. I did get everything assigned down here at the very bottom, and it looks like those have been dealt with. You know, they're not really full at all. Well, okay, this one is the grilled corn. So, once again, it's one of those things. How many times have I said it's one of those things this episode? Probably too many. But getting these filled up as much as possible is going to tell us a little bit more about what we need to do and redo our farms, which is going to be coming, not today, obviously, but we take a look over here. I have not checked on this at all. Wow. Okay, they actually, you know what? They went to town over here. I'm going to put wooden paths in for the rest of these. I think that looks nice. Now, I'm actually kind of surprised they managed to get this all taken care of. Very impressive. I'm pretty sure if I get rid of this, I'm not going to have any terrain collapsing. That's why I'm leaving the pylons over the walkways. But this is, yet again, one of those things the construction is just going to have to get time-lapsed. But I am not going to do that to you again, make you sit through another one of these super incredibly long ones without actually, you know, doing anything. So, to that end, we will be kind of hybrid working on this as part of a... Wait, I didn't get rid of that yet. Part of the time-lapse, part of a real-time thing. Just, again, just got to do it. Just got to get it done. But I do think this has ended up being a worthwhile thing. As haphazard and kind of poorly organized as this has been, I do think it is still something worth doing, something worth having, especially as we continue expanding, and hope to maybe kick this playthrough into high gear pretty soon with more population, building more things around the map, and so on and so forth. And these are always a little bit of a kind of wait and see what happens kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Because I originally wanted to have this whole map, you know, crisscrossing with all the trains and everything. I thought that would be a whole lot of fun, but, you know, it's just unfortunate that the mod doesn't work with the Emberpelts correctly. I really don't know exactly why. I don't have the mental capacity to figure it out myself, so I just figured, you know what, we'll pivot. We'll try something new and get what we have to get done. So, once again, I'm just going to get these all situated here. No particular order outside of just... Oh, I skipped that one, didn't I? This one actually needs to be regular bell peppers. See, you know, I'm not infallible. You guys have been watching this, certainly understand at this point, and if not, then, well, I don't know how you missed it. But I do always try to be authentic, try to be real, and I try to, you know, encourage you to do some fun, interesting stuff with this game. Because, like, look, if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. It's not hard. Well, okay, some of it kind of is. But it's just, you know, here I go again. It's one of those things. You can sit here and watch it. There's a whole lot of great people who do this stuff on this website. And I don't know, probably other websites too. I just basically only ever use YouTube. But it's easy. You watch someone who does this all the time. And you think, you know what? They're so good at this. I don't know if I could ever figure this out. Like, look, I promise you, you can figure it out. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. I'm always going to be authentic, always going to be real and honest about how this works. And you get to see the mistakes, so maybe you don't have to make them yourself. That's always the way I've tried to operate with these videos. And some people like it, some people don't. It's fine. It is what it is. All right, so at the very end of all of this time-lapsing, we do finally have all of these warehouses set, ready to go. It's going to, yes, take some time to get all of these filled up. And I don't know that we even can fill all of these up with our current production, but boy, oh boy, do we now have a tremendous quantity of storage. Apples, over 8,000 capacity, and everything else here should be right around that 8,000, somewhere between 7,500 and 8,000-ish. It looks like, yeah, 76-ish. Yeah, so this is massive, massive over-preparation, but it should mean we don't ever have to have food storage again. We have that there. We have... all the way over here, we have this. Not totally happy with it, but I guess it's fine. And then up here, we have, for better or for worse, we have all of this mess. I can get them to take care of this, and then they can, you know, actually put these terrain blocks in place. And then I can just cap that back up at the top. And you'd never know. You would have no idea that there was previously a hole here. Yeah, this is looking, well, I'm not going to say it's looking good. It's looking better. And we do have a few more beavers living over here, but again, they have access to plenty of fluids. And down here, some food. Not really super close, and I know this is not like the end-all, be-all of all of this. It's fine. But the important thing is we got a whole lot of food stuff put in. The map doesn't really look any different. But we've done some very, very, very good things to make future stuff a whole lot easier. And now we can finally come in the next episode with some more housing stuff, figure out different areas, different neighborhoods, different things like that we can pop in and continue improving what we can improve. And of course, food production, farming, all that stuff as well, getting those other recipes going. We just need to make sure we have the infrastructure in place first, and I figured it would be a decent enough idea to just dedicate this episode to doing that. So, whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, I hope you have a fun and a safe time. And of course, Beard Boosters supporting the channel, making it possible to even do these videos at all, and not have sponsors, and not have to chase the algorithms. We can just, say, hey, we're going to have technically four series of Beavers super deep into a playthrough, where it just isn't possible to do it without their support, because the website would fry me alive, and I'd have to, quit and go get a quote-unquote real job, even though I guess I technically already have a couple of those. But, again, whatever you're doing with the rest of your day, thank you so much for being here. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.